everyone. I am Mary Chris Gilugatiman, a second-year BS Ed English student, and I will be presenting today's discussion on Unit 2, Letter B, Principles, Policies, and Dimensions, focusing on sustaining programs in the National Indigenous Peoples Education Policy. Before I begin, here are the objectives of our discussion. We have identified the key elements of sustaining programs in the National Indigenous Peoples Education Policy. Explain inclusive and culturally responsive teaching strategies in classroom-based activities and recognize the importance of sustaining inclusive education and IP education policies through personal reflection. Now let us begin the sustaining programs. This foundation ensures that students with disabilities receive continuous support in inclusive classrooms. It focuses on 6 key areas. The first one is professional development. Teachers play a vital role in inclusive education, making ongoing training essential. They learn differentiated instruction, universal design for learning, and culturally responsive teaching. Educators also engage in mentorship programs and cultural training to understand indigenous traditions and special education practices. Then individualized education plans. These are personalized plans tailored to students with disabilities. They include student-centered goals, a flexible curriculum integrating indigenous knowledge, multi-sensory learning with visuals and technology, and regular progress reviews to adjust strategies. Then the next one is collaboration and co-teaching. Strong partnerships between general and special education teachers ensure effective support. Schools use co-teaching models where teachers plan, instruct, and assess together. Strategies like peer tutoring, inclusive group activities, and support from teaching assistants and indigenous culture bureaus enhance learning. The next one is support services. Inclusive education supports students socially, emotionally, and physically. Services like speech and occupational therapy, counseling, and assistive technology help them succeed. Classrooms are made accessible with ramps, flexible seating, and sensory-friendly spaces. Then the next one is parent and community involvement. Engaging parents and community is essential for inclusive education. Schools conduct parent workshops, organize community-based learning, involve indigenous elders, and maintain regular communication through home visits, meetings, and digital platforms. The last one is monitoring and evaluation. Inclusive education programs are regularly assessed through student performance data, interviews, focus groups, and self-assessments. Feedback from teachers, parents, and students ensures continuous improvement. These initiatives foster an inclusive and culturally responsive learning environment, ensuring equal opportunities for all students. Then the second one is National Indigenous People Education Policy. What does this mean? The National Indigenous People Education Policy Framework ensures that indigenous communities receive an education that respects their culture, traditions, and identity. It promotes collaboration among government, IP communities, and education stakeholders. This is the right of indigenous people to receive learning that aligns with their cultural background, traditions, and heritage. And there is DepEd Order number 32 series of 2015. This Indigenous People Education Curriculum Framework. This order by the Department of Education provides guidelines for integrating indigenous culture and traditions into the education system. It aims to make education more responsive to the needs of IP learners by adapting the curriculum to their cultural and linguistic backgrounds. Its key features include, the first one is cultural sensitivity in education. Schools integrate indigenous knowledge, traditions, and perspectives while respecting cultural identity. Then we have contextualized learning. The curriculum is adapted to IP culture and language with emphasis on mother tongue instruction. Then community collaboration. Schools work closely with IP elders and leaders in developing learning materials. Then support for teachers and schools. Educators receive training in culture-based education, and DepEd encourages hiring teachers from IP communities. Then we have the legal basis. This policy aligns with the Republic Act number 837 1971 or the Indigenous Peoples' Rights Act of 1997 and the K-12 curriculum. This program ensures that IP learners receive a culture-based, inclusive, and responsive education. And the objectives of the iPad program, we have make the curriculum culturally relevant, train teachers and school heads in culture-based education, develop culturally appropriate learning materials, strengthen policies supporting IP education, and provide education access to IP learners with limited schooling opportunities. In 2016, DepEd provided a Program Support Fund or PSF to enhance IP education, focusing on curriculum and learning resources development. This creates learning materials that reflect IP culture and needs, then capacity building, train teachers and staff in IP education strategies, and education planning. This improves schools' implementation of IP education. Both sustaining programs for children with disabilities and IP education programs aim to promote inclusivity and equity in the education system. These initiatives highlight the government's commitment to educational access, diversity, and cultural sensitivity. That wraps up our discussion. I hope you've gained valuable insights into inclusive education and the National IP Education Policy. Thank you.